Thank you. So again, the context of the topic is strengthening the ecosystem in New Jersey. Number 9 is pretty good, but I think a handful of decades ago when I was in high school, I think we were number 1. So what can we do to strengthen the ecosystem, the New Jersey technology ecosystem? And we're going to do this fun. So what we're going to do is grab the mic. If it's a good answer, these are simple questions but very complex answers. Grab the mic if you want to answer. If it's a good question, move on to the next. If you want to add something, add something. But we're going to do it in reverse. So the threats that we're seeing out there of our technological ecosystem. Anybody wants to? That's a fight.
Well, again, it's a very complex question, and there is long discussions that can be had on these topics. But in terms of threats, I think if you look just at technology and in particular high tech, the new businesses that kind of start up, New Jersey faces a lot of threats. I met one of the VCs, big New York VCs, who says if somebody comes with an idea of doing a consumer app or a consumer service, so that would fall something like an Uber or Airbnb or WhatsApp or Snapchat or probably Facebook. You wouldn't even invest in the company if it's not based in California, or if they're not going to move to California almost immediately. There's just the talent to do consumer services is not there in anywhere in the country other than California. It's a very strong statement. It's a big challenge for any other part of the country. So how do you even get that ecosystem, get that talent in? And the key part is the talent, because it's not just the 1 or 2 or 3 people who are starting a company who may be talented, who have the talent, because that can come from anywhere. But to grow, you need the next 10 people, the next 30 people who are extremely talented, who have the mindset of a consumer service, and it's extremely difficult to get that.
So the talent is definitely a threat, or the lack of talent. Any ideas of how we can attract the talent? More so than we do today? I have my own.
Yeah, let me just go back for a second to the previous question, right? About the overall threat aspect of it. So I'm going to talk about from the perspective of pharmaceutical entrepreneurship. And in this area, we rely a lot more on the research and development infrastructure. And New Jersey is a very spread out state. And for us to compete effectively in places like Boston, San Diego, even Austin for that matter, for the tech industry, I think unless until we create at least pockets of incubation centers where new entrepreneurs coming in are able to find a home and kickstart their projects, because nobody who's starting a company in the pharmaceutical research aspect, the biopharmaceutical aspect of it, is going to be able to do it only with a paper exercise. We need to be able to find labs, and we cannot afford to spend time and money to establish those labs. So there are some right now. There is a privately run lab in Pennsylvania, then the CCIT run labs as well. Princeton recently opened an entrepreneur center as well, but those, at least from pharmaceutical entrepreneurship aspect of it, those at least I see as threats.
I'm going to add to threats actually, and I think it's twofold, but it really stems to the education component that was talked about before. One issue I see is that, and it's getting better, but schools are starting to have these entrepreneurial classes, and they're teaching kids about, this is how to be innovative, but then the problem is they think it's so easy, and they're like, oh, I can just have this silly idea, and I'm going to be a millionaire overnight, and this is a get-rich-quick idea, and they go to these reporters and say, look at this amazing idea, and you're like, this is nothing, right? And that happens all the time. And I think there's got to be a reality check in the education of entrepreneurship as well. Some of the traits of an entrepreneur probably can't be taught. I think most entrepreneurs are a little bit crazy. You either are or you aren't. But again, going back to education, and then once you decide to build something from nothing, understanding, what road lies ahead. My company was bootstrapped for a really long time, and then we decided to take advantage of financing. We ended up doing debt financing, but we looked at all sorts of options, and we continue to look at those options for our growth strategy. But in the end, my background was not PE firms and VCs and debt financing. I just learned what that was from an advisor, a month before my meeting. And I think that teaching that side of it early on would have a huge benefit to people that are starting to become entrepreneurs and probably get them to be successful, and then keeping them in the state is a whole other story, but that's my perspective.
If I could just add, I think it's important that we kind of bifurcate the startup world from the scaling world. And I think the challenges for starting a business, especially access to capital, the facilities that you need to start with and so forth, that's one aspect that we can work on and is maybe a concern. But I think there's the other piece of on talent and scaling it. Is there enough talent for us to grow? I'll speak to maybe some of the, do you want to go into strengths or how we can solve some of those challenges?
Well, it's a threat, so what do you do to solve it?
Yeah, so when I think about the solving, when I look at our business, we've got marketing people, we've got sales people, we've got services people, we've got technologists, we have people in accounting and so forth. Kids are coming out of school, and students coming out of school, what skills do they have on every single one of those departments has a system they use. You're probably familiar with the NetSuite, for example, a general ledger application, our own iCIMS for talent acquisition, or Salesforce for CRM, or Atlassian for development. All of these tools are out there, yet not one person graduating from college has been trained on these tools. We have to spend the first 6 months to 9 months of their time with our company getting them trained on what is the sales process, how do you use the CRM system, how do you actually book entries into this general ledger system and so forth. Why? These are standard applications that are all out of the box that almost every company uses in a very similar fashion. Yet it's a quick fix that the education system can have to make employees be much more productive, and companies in New Jersey take advantage of that productivity early on. So I think that's a quick, simple way to really add value to a company that's scaling. In terms of attracting talent, at the end of the day, we can talk all we want about grants for companies and capital and so forth, but if we don't solve the property tax issue that makes people not want to live in New Jersey or can't afford to live in New Jersey, we're just putting Band-Aids on the problem. And the problem is, we have beaches, we have access to New York City, we've got so many great things in this state, but if people can't afford to live here and can't afford to even live in the burbs or want to, then we're just, it's an uphill battle that I don't think we're going to win.
Right, so we got the tax issue right under the wire, so we've got that in there. But it's education, it's talent, it's incubating labs, type things, and of course the tax. Right. So keeping with the SWOT analysis, opportunity. What opportunities do you see out there for our ecosystem? We're situated, New Jersey is situated. I mean, I think it's land mass itself has a bit of an advantage over a lot of other states where we're situated. I'm not stealing any of your answers, but opportunities you see.
Also, the best opportunity is our skill set. Again, talking from pharmaceutical perspective. And this is an area where probably, in terms of volume, right, some of the world's biggest pharmaceutical biopharmaceutical companies are in this state, and some of the smallest entrepreneurial are in this state, and that's for a reason. And companies are started by people, and companies are scaled by people. The infrastructure is a tool, and if we cannot attract good people, that's a problem. And that's the biggest advantage that this state has because of the environment in which we live, in which all these pharmaceutical companies are. It does lead to a lot of talent pool, because eventually access to talent is either academia or industry, right? So industry is there, that's an advantage. Academia is one thing which is, I think we need to work a bit more in terms of building the bridges there in terms of industry-academic collaborations, because that's where cities like Boston beat us by any extent, because of the lack of the collaborative aspect, at least in this state. And I'm a graduate of Rutgers. I did my PhD there. Even when I was doing my PhD there, we used to constantly complain about why don't we have more collaboration with industry? Why can't we just go and do internships in companies in New Jersey, why can't I even do my thesis in collaboration with companies? But I guess with time you realize is that we all have to take our